You wake up, the gentle hum of the refrigerator in the quiet house, but your mind is already racing. A dozen tasks clamor for attention, a list of worries begins to unfurl, and before you've even swung your legs out of bed, the phone calls. An urgent email, a social media notification. Already you're reacting, pulled into a current you didn't choose. You feel a familiar tightness in your chest, a sense of being perpetually behind, always responding, never truly directing. This feeling of being constantly at the mercy of impulses, be it the urge to check a notification, to react to an annoying comment, to indulge in another mindless distraction, is profoundly disempowering. It's a subtle form of slavery, where we are tethered to the whims of the moment, the fleeting desire, the immediate gratification. But what if I told you that the path to genuine freedom, to unlocking your deepest sense of agency, lies not in giving in to every impulse, but in mastering them? What if the very act of restraint, often perceived as a limitation, is in fact the most powerful form of liberation? This idea isn't new. For the ancient Stoics, mastering oneself was the ultimate power. They understood that true strength wasn't about controlling the world around you, which is impossible, but about controlling your internal world, your reactions, your choices. They saw restraint not as deprivation, but as a strategic tool for creating a life aligned with one's highest values, rather than being swept away by the currents of desire, fear, or external pressures. Think about it. When we lack restraint, we are constantly tossed about. An email arrives, and we feel compelled to respond instantly, derailing our focus. A challenging conversation arises, and we react with anger or defensiveness, damaging a relationship. A tempting snack calls, and we indulge, undermining our health goals. In each instance, we are not acting as the deliberate captain of our ship, but as a passenger buffeted by every wave. The Stoic approach invites us to pause, to create a conscious gap between stimulus and response. This pause is where true agency is born. It's in that moment of stillness that we can ask ourselves, is this action aligned with who I want to be? Is this reaction serving my long-term well-being and values? Or is it merely an impulsive urge, a fleeting emotion seeking immediate gratification? Consider the urge to complain. It's so easy to fall into, isn't it? To vent frustration, to criticize. It feels momentarily satisfying, like releasing pressure. But how does it truly serve you? Often, it amplifies negativity, saps your energy, and offers no real solution. Self-restraint here isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about choosing a more constructive path. It's about pausing and asking, what can I control in this situation? Can I offer a solution? Can I choose understanding? Or can I simply choose silence? That choice, that intentional redirection of energy, is a profound act of liberation. You're no longer a victim of your immediate irritation. You're an agent of your own peace. Or think about the relentless pull of the digital world, the endless scroll, the notifications, the urge to be constantly connected. It promises connection and information, but often delivers distraction and a subtle sense of inadequacy. Applying self-restraint here, setting boundaries for screen time, creating periods of digital detox, choosing to leave your phone in another room, doesn't limit your life, it expands it. It liberates your attention, allowing you to engage more deeply with your real-world relationships, your creative pursuits, your inner thoughts. You reclaim your most precious resource, your focus. This isn't about being emotionless or denying legitimate desires. It's about discernment. It's about understanding that not every desire needs to be fulfilled. Not every emotion needs to be acted upon. Not every external stimulus requires an immediate reaction. It's about developing the inner muscle to choose wisely. It's about saying, I have this impulse, but I am not defined by this impulse. I have the power to choose how I respond. When you practice this kind of self-mastery, you start to notice shifts. The noise in your mind quiets. You feel less reactive, more grounded. Decisions become clearer because they are less clouded by emotional urgency. Your relationships improve because you respond with intention, not just impulse. Your goals become more attainable because you can defer gratification for a greater reward. You become the architect of your own experience rather than a passenger in a vehicle driven by external forces and internal urges. This is where true freedom resides, not in having everything you want, but in having control over yourself, over your attention, your reactions, and your choices. So perhaps the next time an impulse arises, be it to speak out of anger, to indulge in an unhealthy habit, or to get lost in a digital distraction, consider pausing, take a breath, and in that brief moment, recognize your power. The power to choose, the power to align your actions with your deepest values. Because restraint isn't a limitation. It is the deliberate, conscious act of choosing what truly serves your freedom and your peace. It is the liberation of becoming the person you truly aspire to be. I invite you to consider one small area in your life today where you might practice a moment of conscious restraint. What small impulse could you observe and choose not to follow, just for a moment, to see what clarity emerges? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please consider sharing this message, and let's continue this conversation about unlocking agency and unleashing true freedom.